My name is Clara, and I am 37 years old. I've been married to my husband, Michael, for 19 years. Michael is 59, significantly older than me. Together, we have two daughters. Sophie, our eldest, is 18 years old, and Lily, our youngest, is just 1 year old. We live a modest life in a small apartment. Michael works full-time to support our family, while I stay home to care for our children and manage the household. Life seems stable, even if not perfect, but recently everything changed, and my world has fallen apart. One day, I found out something devastating. Michael, the man I had spent nearly 2 decades with, has a girlfriend. The shock and heartbreak were unbearable. I couldn't understand how he could betray me after all these years. I thought we had built a strong foundation, but now I was left questioning everything. At first, I confronted him, asking directly if it was true. I asked him, "Michael, do you have a girlfriend?" Instead of offering me reassurance or honesty, he became defensive and angry. "You're making a problem out of nothing," he said, dismissing my concerns. But his reaction only confirmed my fears. I could feel it in my gut. He was hiding something. As days went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. One evening, while Michael was asleep, I decided to check his phone. I felt guilty, but I needed answers. When he caught me, he exploded in anger. "Why are you invading my privacy? You have no right to go through my things," he shouted, his voice full of rage. I was scared, but I refused to back down. Later, I checked our phone bill and noticed a strange number. He called almost every day. My heart sank. I dialed the number, my hands trembling. A woman answered. She introduced herself as Rachel, and she confirmed my worst fears. She was Michael's girlfriend. Rachel was the same age as me, married, and even had a daughter of her own. I was stunned by her coldness. She told me that it wasn't her problem if my husband had chosen her over me. Her indifference cut deeply, and I felt my heart break into pieces. I confronted Michael again, armed with the truth. This time, he didn't deny it but responded with anger and indifference. "I'll end it when I want to," he said bluntly. "You can't tell me what to do." His words were like knives. This wasn't the first time he had betrayed me. When Sophie was born, he had an affair. Back then, I chose to forgive him, hoping that he would change. But now, with Lily still a baby, he was doing it all over again. I felt trapped and helpless. I'm currently on leave from work to care for Lily, and we rely on Michael's income to make ends meet. The apartment is in my name, but we share the mortgage payments. Soon, the child payments will end, and we'll need every cent of Michael's earnings to keep our family afloat. He knows this, and it makes him feel powerful. "I can do whatever I want," he said one day. "I could have another girlfriend if I wanted." His arrogance and lack of remorse crushed me. Sophie tried to talk to him, begging him to stop. "Dad, this is wrong," she said, her voice trembling. But he didn't listen. Instead, he lashed out at her too, calling her names and dismissing her concerns. His behavior was tearing our family apart. Sophie has become withdrawn. She no longer smiles as much as she used to, and she avoids her friends because she feels ashamed of her father. I can see the sadness in her eyes, and it breaks my heart. Michael's absences became more frequent. One night, he didn't come home. He claimed he was working late, but I didn't believe him. He didn't call or send a message. I stayed up all night, waiting and worrying. When he finally came home the next morning, he was furious. "Stop asking questions," he snapped. "I'm tired of this." Another day, he told me he wanted to go on a trip alone. When I asked if we could go together as a family, he flatly refused. "I need time to myself," he said. His detachment was becoming unbearable. I started noticing that money was disappearing from our account. When I asked him about it, he brushed me off, saying, "Don't worry about it. I'll handle it." But I couldn't ignore the signs. I checked our bank statements and saw charges for expensive gifts and fancy restaurants. I knew he was spending money on Rachel. Meanwhile, our family was struggling. We needed that money for our children and our home, but he didn't seem to care. The stress began to take a toll on me. I couldn't sleep or eat. I felt exhausted all the time. When I went to the doctor, he told me I was too stressed and needed to rest. But how could I rest when my life was falling apart? Michael's betrayal was consuming me, and I felt like I was losing control of everything. Even though Lily is too young to understand what's happening, I worry about her future. I want her to grow up in a happy family, but right now, our family feels broken. I confided in my best friend, who suggested that I consider leaving Michael. "You deserve better," she said. "But I feel trapped. I have no job, and I can't take care of the children alone. My family tells me to stay strong, to hold on, hoping that Michael will change. But I'm not sure he ever will. I still love him, despite all the pain he has caused me. I want him to remember us, to leave Rachel, and to come back to our family. But every day, I feel more lost and hopeless. My heart aches, and I feel like I'm in a dark place with no way out. I'm afraid that this is how my life will always be, sad, broken, and full of unanswered questions." Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Beyond the Surface.